What's going on, everybody? My name is Box from Box and Jackalope, and as you can see, we have Pandaren enthusiast, Pandaren RPer, GM of the Quasjog Society, Jakai on today, with webcam format. We got
webcam format.
We have a really epic topic today. We're going to be talking about the Pandaren in Shadowlands, and I think just as a disclaimer, and I don't want to put words in Jakai's mouth, but we both feel that the Pandaren probably won't have much of a role in Shadowlands, just kind of due to the theme of the expansion. I'll let Kai kind of talk a little more on that, but overall, I personally feel the theme doesn't fit them that well, but there are little tidbits we could get of them in Shadowlands. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today, but I'll throw it over to you.
But yeah, I think you're spot on there. It's not really going to be, I think in general, no race is really going to get any kind of spotlight.
Right.
But primarily, I'm going to say Pandaren are assuredly not.
Yeah.
But that being said, you could throw in a little bit of attention for minor characters like I mentioned before, Gravewalker Ghia from the Warlords, followers that you could recruit for the Horde, and she was a Pandaren Death Knight before Pandaren Death Knights were a thing, so she could be all, she could be like a hipster cameo kind of character,
Wasn't
like maybe helping lead her kind, be like, some of my kind are not so used to this, but I had the misfortune of being raised back when the Scourge were first raising people, so now, maybe she could be like, I don't know, training this new generation of Death Knights. I think it'd be pretty cool.
So you actually just explained that, and because I was trying to think what they could do with her, right? Like I think she was put in the game because a Blizzard developer was really pushing for it, that wanted Pandaren Death Knights, which is awesome. I'm so freaking happy we have them
me too.
now. I actually really like the idea of that, because I think even in Pandaren RP right now, I think there are a lot of Pandaren RPers that on their Death Knights, they really have a hard time kind of coping with what they are now, just because of what the Pandaren are in life. You know what I mean? They're really peaceful creatures that value life a lot, and they their line, "Slow down, life is to be savored." So it's they
hard
really
to go from that.
They really are interesting though, and I think she could be a good character to have a storyline with them, and maybe the storylines for the Pandaren Death Knights could be race specific, right? So in the original Death Knight starting area, you have all of those quest that one quest where each race gets unique dialogue with their other race. I think it'd be nice if Blizzard did that for the allied races and the Pandaren, and Gravewalker Guy, she could be perfect for that role. Like you said, it could be her. She could be I became this before most of my people, so I'm helping them cope with it. I'm helping them find their place in the Ebb and Blade and in their world. My God, they're so cool though. I'm sorry, I love the Death Knights.
No, I love them too. I just got mine to 120 and I'm psyched. I'm wanting to do some PvP on them, but taking my time. Don't want to stretch myself too thin. That being said, I think she has a lot of potential as a pretty cool, prominent Death Knight character, for one, because there are a lot of prominent Pandaren characters, I guess, if you're just looking at it with just Pandaren alone, but they're all male. The only prominent female ones you have are Asa and Lili,
right.
Neither of whom have even a unique model or don't really play much of a role in the game in general. I think Gravewalker Ghia would be pretty cool. Oh yeah, Taoshi, good one. But I mean, but then again, she's the second in command to Terran Zhu, who is much more recognizable. You know what I'm saying?
When you think Shadowpan, you think Terran Zhu, I think, first, usually. Yeah.
So yeah, you see where I'm getting at. There are some kind of prominent female Pandaren characters, but they're all kind of background characters or just right next to the main character.
Right.
I think Gravewalker Ghia could be a cool example of a prominent character. And whenever it comes to Pandaren Death Knights in general, I think one cool thing they could do with them is, because this new generation of Death Knights, as far as I'm aware, don't go through the same, I guess you would say, temporary mental tormenting and stuff like that the Lich that Arthas used.
They're
Bolvar,
more...
I don't think used that on them. They're undead, but they didn't go through you're not allowed to feel certain emotions and you're not allowed to feel remorse or anything like that. They probably didn't go through all that. I think Pandaren Death Knights pose a potential for a unique viewpoint of almost being optimistic about it, even though they can't eat and they can't enjoy beer. You know,
Oh
maybe
man,
they have
the worst part for them too is
comical. Yeah, it's like they could be like they could have comical little things where like, why can't I enjoy this beer? I miss it. You know, I don't know. But they could also, like I said, kind of be optimistic about it. So like, life is to be savored, and now I have, an eternity. I don't know. They could do something pretty fun.
It seems that the new Death Knights too were brought back more of a force to defend Azeroth rather than because the other ones were obviously basically just not mindless slaves to Arthas, but mindless slaves to Arthas. They had to do everything he commanded. You do swear allegiance to Bolvar during the new starting experience, but I think you do obviously have more free will than the first generation of Death Knights had, or whatever it was that the Knights of the Ebon Blade were. Because I know the first generation were like the Gul'dan ones or whatever. I don't want to get that totally wrong, but
yeah, that was third generation. This is the fourth one, I believe.
Fourth. It's so I think they're more brought back to defend Azeroth, and I think I could see a Pandaren actually being optimistic about it in some ways. Like, I have another chance to defend. A good example, like my Death Knight, like Iseelie, he's defending the Veil right now, and that's kind of just like his whole purpose in life. I know for Death Knights to feel comfort, they actually have to be in some sort of war or fighting. But I'm sure in their mind it would give them more peace of mind knowing they're defending Pandaria, if, that's the kind of person they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gravewalker Guy. Even if it's not her, I think the general gist of it, would be good for a Pandaren, a character like that. And again, we could just get the comical one that's like, oh, I can't drink anymore, or something like that. I would be totally cool with that.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
I think that's the highest chance we have of seeing Pandaren in Shadowlands. Do you have anything else you want to say about the Ebon Blade, Kai, besides that they're badass and awesome?
Yeah, they're badass and awesome. I think the comical side of them really should be kind of embraced. I know a lot of people think they are not really taken seriously enough, and to that, I agree to an extent. Like, there are a lot of serious aspects of Pandaren lore that I don't feel really get as much of a spotlight, other than like the doofy brewmaster, that's what I love about them, to be honest with you. But I love their serious sides too, like the Shadow Pan and Golden Lotus, all that stuff. But I would say, whenever it comes to Death Knights, you've already got so much gloom and doom with them. Let them still retain a little bit of their happy
of what they were before. Yeah.
Or at least be comical, like you said. Have just this really have an occasional dour, really downtrodden moods, like, why can't I enjoy beer and stuff? Yeah, I that's all I have to really say on that.
I always think the in general too, the Pandaren would make, in the current storyline, really great supporting characters. I know we've talked at great length of this, but it wouldn't be a Box and Jackalope video without talking about G Firepaw. But he would, in a situation like Nazjatar, he would make a great supporting character, in my opinion, if he was there. I know that's really silly, but just as somebody to play off of, I think the Pandaren are great, and the fact that they can be really serious and very humorous is why I love them too. Chen Stormstout is sorry, I gotta just point this out. You can't see it over my mic. But Chen Stormstout is my favorite character for that reason, because he can be serious, but he's also very comical too in a lot of ways. And that. So on the next topic for this video, I kind of wanted to talk about characters that we might see that have died. I made a video before about dead characters I wanted to see in Shadowlands, and I actually put Shaohao down as one.
Yeah.
Which I think is likely we may see him in some way, shape, or form. I hope he's not a Kyrian, because he does fit the Bastion criteria, I feel like. But I don't want him to be some blue thing that is not him. You know what I mean? Which I don't think that's the case. But it's interesting, right? Because Shaohao is kind of one with Pandaria, so I have to wonder, what is he? What are his freedoms, I guess, in Shadowlands? Is he bound to anything, or is his spirit kind of just more free than the other ones because of what he did? I don't know.
It's hard to say personally. To be honest, I don't think there's a chance of seeing him.
Nah.
But if we were to, I think you'd be right in saying like Bastion. I don't think he would be an Arden Wield personally. I think they could technically fit with that, but Arden Wield seems more like obviously druidic, but also like shamanistic, maybe even like troll priest kind of place, you know, like
Yeah.
those like more nature-y kind of inclined characters or elemental even.
It reminds me of the Night Elves a lot when you see it.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much what it is because it's supposed to be just like a shadowy mirror of the Emerald Dream. So yeah, definitely going to see a lot of Night Elf druidic kind of influence there. But Shaohao, I think you're right in that his spirit is bound with Pandaria itself. I think with Pandaren, the most we'll get is like a cameo character. Maybe they'll make new ones. Like I'm thinking they'll just make brand new characters and kind of introduce them there and just say that they're there. Just or they could have been former Golden Lotus, or maybe they died in ages past, thing like that. But
we could see the Golden Lotus we fought during Siege of Orgrimmar, maybe just as a little cameo, like Rook Stone Toe and stuff like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That just it hit my brain as soon as you mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean that's always possible. Another one we could, another few we might see that I thought would be kind of cool would be the ones that were killed in the faction incursions. So Brewmaster Lin, Mistweaver Nian, you know, the Alliance and Horde ones that they attack. Because I mean, they did kind of die under the pretense of of their ideals, you know, of defending their people and stuff like that. Even though Mistweaver Nian was neutral, Brewmaster Lin was Horde. But as far as I'm aware,
wasn't it the Horde that killed the Mistweaver too?
Yeah. Oh man, that was just a messed up situation. That one just felt
I did not want to do that world quest whenever we got it. That incursion.
It's like she's from the Jade Temple. She's not even, as far as I'm aware, she's not even like an Alliance Tushui character. But like she's thrown in with them because she was with the Tushui mending people. Like that was so messed up.
Wasn't it Lady Leandrin leading the charge against her too? Of like all characters.
Like, good job, heroes. You did it.
Okay, now we have to get a cameo from her in Shadowlands.
Yeah, she has to show up, and if you're a Horde character, she's gotta like look at you like, what'd you do that for?
I think you are 100% right though. With like, I think the most we will get is like either new Pandaren, minor cameos of ones that have died in either like Mop, Legion, or Battle for Azeroth. And then I think the Ebon Blade is the highest probability. Since the topic of this video is Pandaren, I don't want to mention it too much, but we might see the Mogu involved in some way, shape, or form. Lei Shen, in particular, as a character, I'm very curious if we will get to see him a little bit, considering he cheated death. I'm curious where he stands there, but it'll be interesting. There's a lot of good possibilities of where the story of this expansion could go and be fun and actually feel relevant. I really like your idea of them creating new lore for new Pandaren in that ancient era. Like, I don't know if I said in a video a while ago, I was like, it would be really cool if we saw Kang, but I'm like indifferent on that now because his story was pretty good the way it is right now. But maybe new ones. You're right about that. Like, you could have characters that fought against the ancient Mogu or just fought against the Mantid, and you could get more stories of what might have happened back then. And it would be even cool, like, if in Shadowlands, Blizzard sends us back to like an alternate spirit realm of some of these zones and gives us like a little lore, so that way we still don't have to spend the whole expansion in Shadowlands, but we get to go back to some of these zones. Like, it could be like an alternate Dread Waste in the past, where you do like a little quest chain with like the dead panda or something, or Pandaren. I don't know. That sounds really, really cool to me. Something like that.
You gave me a few thoughts that I wish I'd have articulated earlier, because I think they're pretty awesome. Like, if we're talking exclusively with Pandaren and Pandaria related things, there's a few really cool things you could do with Shadowlands that haven't been done yet that I feel really need to be. For one, I'll just mention this since you mentioned Mogu. Two things on that one. I think one, if we saw Lei Shen, he'd probably be in the mall.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then for two, if they're wanting to kind of help lead into Mogu being an allied race, which I know a lot of people are a big fan of that idea. I'm not personally, but I'm not against it either. Um, but I think one thing that would really kind of help smooth that transition and at least familiarize people more with the Mogu is if they were to introduce the spirit of Emperor Cao, who is one of my favorites Mogu examples of a Mogu that was actually kind to the Pandaren. He was one of the ancient Mogu
They even built the statue for him, didn't they?
No, they didn't build the statue. They left it standing after they destroyed all the older ones. I think it was like in a weird way a sort of mirror with the Chinese Cultural Revolution. That's what it's called. I'm not going to get political, but where they essentially destroyed all the old statues and likenesses of their old culture whenever they introduced or were really laying the foundation of the Chinese Communist Party. I know, again, like I know that's political stuff, but I'm just saying, like I think that was a mirror to that. But they left the statue of Emperor Cao standing. I believe was the only one because he's the only Mogu emperor that's actually held in regard with the Pandaren because he allowed the Pandaren to actually learn to read and write and actually open up their own schools and stuff like that. And they were still slaves back then. So I think he would be a cool minor character they could introduce. That would be like throwing a bone to the Pandaren and even the Mogu enthusiasts that like would love to see that in it.
It would be a really good way of maybe sympathizing with the Mogu or making them more like we'd be down to have these on our side, and it'd be a good way of keeping maybe the Roshani relevant too, because I think those obviously will be the playable group we get. I like the Roshani. I think they're really cool. Stormspeaker Quan's really cool. But yeah, like I knew about that character from you actually, but like I think for the common player they probably don't know about that, so it'd be cool if they did a little chain like that. Absolutely, Kai.
I call it cultivating the positive outliers, personally. It's like, you've got your big evil races or whatever, but then you've got these select few that aren't, and that's the few that I feel like you should really put more spotlight on, because you could take that a long way.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. So, do you have anything else you want to talk about in this video? We're actually at about like 20 minutes right now.
Just one more thing, and since we're talking about potential that this adds with Pandaren only, this could be their chance to finally give us not unique, but our own language finally, so we can stop om-nomming.
Oh my
gosh. We
could
meet like, old Pandaren and we could be like, what are you saying? And they'd be like, oh, I'm speaking the old tongue. Learn the old tongue from them. And we could get some faux like amalgam of Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thai, just no one's gonna get offended. Just mix it all up, make up your own little Pandaren kind of syllables like you've done with every other language. Don't let us om-nom anymore. I don't want to. Like maybe you could even give us a third language if you want to. Keep that as Mogu, and then give us Pandaren, genuine, legitimate Pandaren. That'd be so much better. We'd be taken much more seriously. In RP, like I would love it.
Oh man. No, you got my brain working now too. Like, there's so many different things that could be taught from like past characters or characters from the past, like even just cooking recipes, armor recipes. But it'd be cool if they attach a story to it like that, because I think ancient Pandaria is super interesting, and there's stuff that like I actually learn about it even just from talking to you on the internet. Like, it's a really fascinating part of like Warcraft history that I think could be explored in Shadowlands even more, depending on where Blizzard wants to go with that. They did use the Pandaren. I want to give Blizzard one thing. They did use the Pandaren a good bit in Battle for Azeroth in terms of like the later part of the as of 8.1.5 with the War Campaign cinematic. Firepaw got a lot of storyline. We got storyline for Tao Shi, Chen Stormstout. It was really 8.3. That was my highlight of it, was all the Pandaria stuff, because they felt super relevant again, and I thought that was a good way of using them on the side like that.
We got an island expedition.
Oh my god, Snow Blossom Village too, and the music's beautiful from that. I actually used that on my outro. I'm so glad it's back. Except we can only use it bi-weekly.
Oh, Box, I could extend this to 30 minutes for you if you wanted to.
Oh, keep going, dude. Keep going.
I want to drop another idea, since we were talking about like the possibility that Shadowlands has, I should say the potential that Shadowlands has for kind of extending the Pandaren storyline and adding onto it a bit. If they wanted to give us Paladins, which I would rather have Druids. But if they wanted to hypothetically give us Paladins, which some of us might be really okay with, maybe even very enthusiastic about, they could have them, and at the same time it gives us our very own language too. They could like unearth like ancient scrolls or something like that from the Pandaren Empire days. It could like have the old tongue and stuff like that, and maybe they could even discover that, oh, it turns out there was a celestial order of Pandaren that used the power of the Celestials, and we're like, how cool would that be? Like a Pandaren Imperial Knight kind of thing, you know? Like, this existed in, like, Asian culture and stuff like that, too. Like, this was actually very prominent. Like, I know a lot of people think, like, oh, Paladins, that kind of takes away from the whole, you know, Asian vibe, but it's like, then you don't know much about it. This stuff was very, very much there. So yeah, I think it'd be awesome. I would personally rather have Druids, but that's just because I love Resto Druids and I think they're really fun, but I don't actually play one because I can't be a Pandaren. I mean, if we could get Paladins in a context like that, and like from the ancient Pandaren, you know, Celestial Imperial Order or something like that, oh my god, that would be amazing. It would be just...
You don't know though, Kai. You don't know, like they could do something with that with druids too, with like Ardenweald or something. Like there could have been a Pandaren druid that nobody knew about that he teaches. Like because I actually have a feeling we're gonna get the Cataclysm expansion after this one. I firmly believe this is to buy time for that and make something really huge after it. The way the game's going, because it really needs it, and like the way they're redoing the leveling slowly, the way it flows. Please, Pandaren Druids, Pandaren Paladins. I will take anything we can get.
I'll take anything.
Yeah. Like Pandaren Death Knights were actually the thing like I wanted the most, but I know you are a huge Pandaren Druid enthusiast. Jackalope's a huge Pandaren Druid enthusiast. Pandaren Druids, Paladins. Oh my god, this could be the perfect time to introduce them.
The Celestials are, I mean, wild gods. I mean, that's all you need to work with. Like, you have less to work with races that are already druids. You've had Kultiran druids. I mean, you've got Zandalari druids and Worgen druids who are just pretty much harvest witches, you know? Like, and they were able to become druids that way. Like, give us druids, man! But the thing is, I think the reason why they gave us Death Knights and they haven't really dropped any hints at considering anything else is I think they're fearing that, hey, we might have to like completely revamp their starting zone,
right?
Or give them unique quests, because with Pandaren you had unique class quests as you leveled.
Well, actually, I don't want to interrupt you, but actually they would still have to do it even with the new island that they're doing, because if you can still choose to do the original starting experiences. I totally forgot about that. Never mind. I'm sorry about that, Kai.
No, you're good. But I was gonna say with that'd be really easy though. Like with any new class options, they could just be like, well, if you play these, it'd be like a selected option. Like whenever you create a class trial, like you can't select a certain spec with that. They could just do that and like have it in red where it's like, hey, you know, you can play this class, but you can't go through the original Isle because this was prior to them doing that. It's like with the Tauren before they really started training to become Sunwalkers.
Right.
In my admission.
That sounds feasible, actually, especially with, do you know what they said about the story of Shadowlands, too? Which I found really fascinating about it. They said they want the story of Shadowlands to feel less contained to one expansion, and, like, so you could play it any time and it would make sense of the timeline. Like, they want it to just be concurrent with every new game, which is something that I'm really curious how that's gonna work. Or, like, you could go to it anytime. I think their idea is they want to make the game feel like a choose-your-own-adventure type thing when you make a new character right now. I'm really excited for Shadowlands. This discussion has actually got me even more excited for it. Because I just want to toss this out to the viewers. We thought this was going to be like an 8-minute video, 10-minute video. We've gone on 25 minutes now. So there is material to work with for the Pandaren in Shadowlands. There's absolutely material for Blizzard to work with. I think, again, the highest probability is the Ebon Blade thing we were talking about at the beginning. But this is great. And some of the ideas Kai padded this video.
Thank you.
Freaking great, man. This
Thank
is
you.
awesome.
Pandaren are my passion, so I write a bunch of stuff for my guild or just for my characters and stuff like that, and try to help people where I can. I encourage it.
His guild on Wormrest, Quezhong Society, nicest group of people you'll ever meet. They do really fun RP events. I'm really new to RPing, so like I've been learning. I chose a Death Knight as my first RP character. Probably not the best idea, but I'm working on it. But it's been really fun. There's always events on Wormrest Accord. If you guys are ever interested, just stop by. And, yeah.
Wormrest is the place to be for a horror role player.
It's fun.
Great.
It is really, really fun.
Wonderful community, really. Like you can find your niche. It's great.
So guys, first of all, I want to thank Kai for being on today. Check him out on Twitter, YouTube. He streams on Twitch. Thanks for being on, Kai, as usual. I really appreciate it.
Man, it's an honor. I love being on streams and videos, man.
We got to do some more Pandaren discussions. I really love like doing these type of videos because I really like off the cuff stuff, to be honest, because sometimes I feel like you can almost get points across better, as weird as that sounds, than like a script. Because sometimes
Definitely.
I always feel like a robot sometimes when I read off a script, but I just like the casual conversation like this. But
yeah, I don't know about other people, but whenever I'm playing games, like I'll listen to podcasts or things like this in the background. So like actually the longer it goes on, the better for somebody like me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would definitely love to do some off the cuff stuff sometime.
We'll have to plan some stuff soon. But anyway, guys, we will see you next time. What's